Hey there, my wonderful students. So here are your notes for today's daily objective of being able to cite two pieces of textual evidence. Um, so how is this different from our objective the last couple of days? Well, the difference is now you have to cite two pieces instead of just the single piece that you've been expected to do before. So the first piece of this, whenever you see a question that asks you to cite textual evidence, you know this was your quiz last time. You answer using the claim, evidence, explanation format. Okay, and remember your explanation is supposed to uh, kind of paraphrase the evidence. It kind of explains why this evidence is important. Okay, but what is our unit objective? Why is that type of answer not going to be good enough? Okay, so let's look at our unit objective. The unit objective says that we need to cite two pieces of textual evidence to support our analysis. So thinking about this, why isn't this good enough? Well, the answer is right here. It says that we need two pieces, but our answer right now would only have one piece. So we need to figure out how to use the format we've learned, but kind of move it to the next level so that it actually meets our unit objective of citing two pieces of textual evidence. So here's the format that we're going to use. It's really similar if you notice. So we of course still have our claim, where we answer in our own words. We have our evidence, our first piece of evidence that we pull. And then we have our explanation. So far, this is exactly what we've had. The difference is now we're adding this next piece of evidence. So you pull out a second quote that will also prove what you're trying to prove in your claim. And then you're going to explain what that quote really means, why you pulled out that quote. Okay, so you have your claim with a piece of evidence that proves it, and an explanation that explains your evidence. And then you're going to have your second piece of evidence, which will also prove your claim, and then that explanation that explains why that quote's important. Okay, and the purpose of all this is to really bring out that textual evidence to prove your point, rather than just kind of assuming that you're right. The reader's going to need some proof as you progress as readers and as writers. They're not just going to believe your argument. They actually need to see textual evidence that's going to support that. So we're going to practice this now. So here's the first passage you're going to read, called Baby Birds in Boxes. And once you read this, you're going to be answering this question of who do you think the narrator is, and what position does she hold at her job. So take a minute right now, pause the video. When you finish reading this and trying to answer it on your own, then you could press play again and see if you got it correct. Okay, so press pause right now. Okay, so kind of talking through this video. So here's how I would approach this. So I already read through it, and I underlined the pieces of evidence that I thought kind of proved it. So my claim is going to be something like, I don't know if you thought this, but I certainly did. Instead of saying I think I'm going to get rid of that, I'm going to be confident and say the narrator is a regular employee at the job who is supposed to be training the new employee. Okay, so that's my claim. Now I need my evidence. My evidence is in the text it says, and like I said, I pulled out my first quote already when I was reading this. I underlined it. Start with the pots. The pots won't break. They're a good warm-up. Okay? So I'm going to copy that just because I can, or you can write it word for word, either way. Paste it so it's a little bit quicker. And let's make it all the same format. Okay, now I need my explanation. So I'll say something like, the narrator knows what she's talking about when it comes to how to do on-the-job duties and it's clear that she's teaching someone the best way to do it. Okay? So far, this is how you guys have been trained to answer these questions. You have your claim, your evidence, your explanation. But now, to meet our not only our daily objective, but more importantly, our unit objective, we have to have two pieces of evidence. So here's how we'll do our second piece. So I look back and I find my second piece that I had already underlined while I was reading. And it's this piece here. If they hear your phone, even if you don't answer it, they get mad. So why is this so important? This quote to me is what shows that she's not the boss or not the manager. This is the part that proves the part of my claim where I say she's a regular employee. Okay? And I'll show you why in my explanation. So to get started, I'll just copy and paste. Like I said, you can either write it word for word or copy and paste, whatever's easy for you. So I'll say in the story it says, comma quotes, paste it, Control V. Now I'll make it the same format just so it looks good. Okay, and my quotes. This shows, and this is my explanation here, this shows that the narrator is a regular employee and not the boss or a manager, because she talks about they who seem like they're her superiors or her bosses. Like, she's not telling this girl, don't answer your phone. She doesn't really care, but she's giving her this advice, like, don't answer it because they are going to get mad. Okay? So this would be a level 3 or a level 4 answer, where you're doing exactly what you need to be doing with claim, evidence, explanation, evidence 2, explanation 2. Okay? You guys are going to get to practice this now on your own to show me that you really understand this. So there's this kind of interesting story I found for you titled Drive-By, with this really stupid woman, Donna, and kind of this mean old dude named Burke. And they're going to be having a conversation that kind of revolves around this topic that happened earlier the day at Drive-By. Okay? Once you finish reading, you're going to be answering this question of why is Burke so worried and think those men did something bad. Okay? So read carefully, look for that evidence, 2 pieces of it, and then answer using the format that we just learned. Okay? Thank you and good luck.